Welcome everyone. Today I am bringing you another quick little Destiny 2 build video. This time it's actually on Solar Hunter and it's going to completely revolve around throwing as many knives as possible. In this build we are going to be using the Hunter exotic Ophidia Spathe, which in my opinion doesn't really get enough love or get enough use, but that is fair because if you look through all the Hunter exotics, reading this one doesn't really seem that good or that fun. But today we're going to be pairing that Hunter exotic with a bunch of different weapons and aspects and fragments to create the best build possible for it. This build is great for any tier content, including any raids, Nightfalls, any legend content that you want to bring it into. And that's because this build allows you to constantly have radiant and restoration proc, as well have a free way to cause ignition on any target you want very easily. Without further ado, now let's get into the build. All right, so we're going to go ahead and be on Solar Hunter for this build. For super, use whatever you want. Blade Barrage is honestly the best option. I like using Golden Gun just because I find it more fun. For abilities, you're going to need Knife Trick, but other than that, the rest is up to you. I do recommend Healing Grenade though, but it is definitely not needed. For aspects, you want Knock 'em Down and On Your Mark. For fragments, you're going to want Ember of Mercy, Ember of Ashes, Ember of Searing, Ember of Torches, and Ember of Solace. All right, for the weapons that you want to use on this build, you honestly do have a lot of freedom. My personal go-to and favorite weapons to use for this build are any of the crota weapons due to their origin trait called Cursed Thrall. After every melee kill, which you're going to get a bunch of with this build, it makes for 5 seconds. These weapons cause a Cursed Thrall explosion on any and every final blow. And I was also lucky enough to get Swashbuckler on my Abyss Defiant, which pairs perfectly. For other weapons, you can use anything with a Pugilist or Swashbuckler combo, or also Monte Carlo with its Catalyst pair perfectly. I do switch off to those here and there just for some more creativity and more fun. In terms of your special weapon, obviously you can use what you want, but I do recommend something that can add clear but also do a decent amount of damage. So anything like a fusion rifle or a grenade launcher will work perfectly. And for the heavy slot, obviously use whatever you prefer. For exotic, we're going to be rocking the Ophidia Spathe. And for mods, we're going to start with our helmet. First off, you're going to want to use a siphon mod, and this will depend on whatever weapon you do plan on using. And then also any kind of ammo finder and ammo scout pairing. If you want to use it for heavy, make sure they're both heavy. If you want to use it for special, make sure they are both special. For arms, you want heavy-handed and 2 different copies of impact induction. On chest piece, I know it's the boring thing to run, but they obviously are the best option, and that is resistance mods. I prefer concussive dampener. I definitely think it's the best resistance mod. Then I personally run sniper resistance just because I find them to be the most annoying characters or people to play against in this entire game. Any sniper shank, any sniper vandal, I hate them. But honestly, running the elemental ones will probably be better, but it is entirely up to you. For boots, you want to run recuperation and 2 copies of innervation. And finally, for class item, you want powerful attraction. I run special finisher, but honestly, you can run any of these boosts that you want here. So just go ahead and look through these and find what you prefer the most. And then also distribution. And finally, to top off the build, for stat distribution, you obviously want 100 resilience for that crazy 30% damage reduction. And then after that, you can spec into either mobility, recov, or strength. In my personal opinion, I prefer strength because there are some times with this build where you do miss your knives and your knives are on a cooldown and you don't have a dodge to get them back. I like having 100 strength just to make sure I can get them back as quickly as possible to get the build back up and running. All right, so now that you have all the tools and essential things that make this build work, let me tell you and show you exactly how this build works and why it's amazing. What you first off need to do to get this build entirely up and running is get a throwing knife kill. Considering you have 2 of them, it makes it very easy. After getting a throwing knife kill, or not even getting a kill, just by hitting a target with your throwing knife, it makes you radiant, and it makes any of your allies near you radiant as well. So therefore, you get a damage boost. After getting a kill with your melee weapon, you get 2 things. First, it'll create a fire sprite, which if you go and run and pick up that fire sprite, you'll get restoration for, I believe it is 4 seconds. And also any kill you get with your throwing knife after getting restoration will increase that timer and extend it and keep going. The second thing you get after getting a melee kill is that Cursed Thrall explosion thing on your crota weapons if you do plan on using them. Now, the cool thing with this build is once you're radiant, any throwing knife kill you get will instantly refund that throwing knife. So technically, as long as you're getting kills with every throwing knife, you'll have an infinite supply, infinite chain of them, therefore getting the infinite amount of those buffs. Now, another thing I like to do is sometimes instead of going for kills with the throwing knives, what you can do is if you throw both sets of your throwing knives at the same target, it applies enough scorch that will cause them to instantly ignite. So what I really like to do is sometimes when a yellow bar knight or wizard or ogre or anything is rushing me, I'll hit them with both sets of my knives, which will apply enough scorch and cause them to ignite. So it's an easy, nice little get out of jail free card. And honestly, if you're doing some of the lower end content, those 2 knives with the ignition will honestly just kill that yellow bar immediately. And then also, if you do ever have the situation where you miss your knives or you throw both of them at a target and that target still doesn't die, you have your dodge just to go ahead and dodge next to enemies and get your 2 knives back. Also, another cool thing to note too is after every melee kill, you're not just creating a fire sprite, you're also grabbing an orb, which will grant you any kind of benefit you have for all of these orb mods that we have on. So yeah, that's the whole build. I'm gonna let the rest of the Savathun's Fire play out. I am gonna try to upload more build videos probably once a week on the weekend. So if you liked what you saw here, feel free to subscribe. And yeah, all you fine ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day.